Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. It's Teresa here with another layout from my 2021 October daily mini album. And so for today's story, I played around with some of the Instagram filters last October, and I wanted to do a fun little happy layout, showing up in my own work here, showing up in my own albums, and having a good time with some of these fun Halloween filters that were available on Instagram. And so those are my photos that you can see here. And I'm also working with the Halloween collection from Heidi Swap from last year as well. Stunning collection. Love these pattern papers. They're the perfect size for these smaller albums. She also had some puffy stickers, some word strips, a stamp set, some cute little embellishments with that collection. And so that seemed like a fun opportunity to use that kit. And then I also had these little cupcake wrappers. And so what I wanted to do is I printed out all of these photos from Instagram and printed them in as a circle. And I think they're about 2.5 inches in diameter. And then I had the idea to back them with these little muffin liners. And so the idea is taken from little ribbons or badges with paper fans. And so that's how I'm going to back these photos and try to figure out a fun little pattern paper that I want to back them with. And then, of course, figure out how I'm going to put this layout into the album. This is my layout for day 7. And I don't really have anything to start with. Day 6 was a full page photo and the Mickey spider insert that you can see. And so that gives me some choices and options for page size and page format. So we'll see how this comes together. I sort of have in my mind how I want to do it, but not really sure. And so this is going to be a fun little process. So to start with, I wanted to create these little background rosettes for the photos. And muffin liners, first off, they always come in these cute little patterns, and they're just a fun way to add a light bit of texture. They're also thin, so they're pretty easy to work with and fold and manipulate to get them to do what you want them to do. So right now I'm just tightening up the folds a little bit, aligning it better with the size of the photo. And then I'm also going to take some plain cardstock to adhere the little fan to. So those are 2-inch circles, I believe. And I'm just going to go ahead and apply adhesive to those. I'm using Sticky Thumb today, which lives up to its name. It truly is a sticky adhesive. And I'm just going to plop that down on that little white circle. And then it's ready for the photo on top. And then to back it, it felt like it needed a little bit more stability. And so I'm just kind of playing around here. First off, when you apply the folded muffin liner, it's no longer really even around the edges unless you're just a perfectionist who happens to be able to create perfect circles with those little thin liners. But what I ended up doing was grabbing another just solid black cardstock and adhering that onto the back of the whole thing. And this is a 3-inch circle punch. And then I'm going to trim around that. And so that way you can see how this is a little sandwich now, and that makes it easier to trim around it. And so I'm going to do this for each of the photos that I have. Actually, I decided to create one for the journaling that I'm going to use. And so I'll come back and tell you about that. But I'm going to run some music while this goes on, and you can watch and see how these other rosettes come together. Okay, so that was a lot of fun to pull those together. I did decide just to do 4 of the photos. That was a great story, that it tells the story that I wanted to tell. They were my favorite ones that I felt fit in with the Halloween theme. And so at this point, I'm going to create the rosette for my journaling. And the Heidi Swap, first off, these pattern papers are just so fantastic. I love them. This one had just a little tiny bit of texture and a little tiny bit of color to it, so that I felt like it would pop on top of, oh look, it's pop on socks. A little Dr. Seuss for you. I thought that it would pop against the muffin liner rosette. And so there was, of course, this great little stamp, this little line stamp. And you guys know how much I love line stamps. And so that created a little place for the journaling, just to write a little bit about what this is. Because looking forward 20 years, we may not remember doing this. I don't know. So trying to just document here that this was a thing that we did in October of 2021. And look how cute those rosettes turned out. They were so fun. For this little journaling spot, it gave me a little opportunity to add a couple of embellishments there. I added some of those puffy word strips and look at the little witch hat. That is so cute. I can't believe I haven't used those cat puffies yet, but that's coming. That's coming. So, but there were some really cute little puffy stickers. And then I got to decide here how I wanted to back this little journaling spot. So I decided to use the bats again. And at this stage, I'm starting to transition to thinking about the page overall. How do I want the composition of the page to be? And how does everything fit onto that composition? And then how does it fit into the album? And so I think that I'm going to use that polka dot paper as my background. That is what I ended up using, and 4 of the photos, and then that gives me, if I do 6, like if I do a grid of 6, then that gives me 4 spots for photos, 1 spot for the journaling, and 1 spot for the number, and that fits perfect. And I think that what I'll have to do is, it looks like the 4 photos just themselves would fit perfect on a 6x8 page. So I'm probably going to have to do some sort of flip out. So yay, that'll be fun. And I think that'll be a really cool way to include this layout into my album and get it so to where it fits in there somehow. So the next item up for bid here is the number, the day number, and how to incorporate that. This is always one of the most fun parts for me, and I always love spelling out that this is day 7, so that you can easily, as you go through the album, that you can easily go 1, 2, 3. That's incredibly satisfying for me. And so you can see my little bucket of numbers. If you're new here, I've collected those numbers over the last 11 or 12 years, and they've just come from everywhere and anywhere. And the ones particularly that you see here, just in case you're curious, some of the wooden ones are from Ellie Studio, and probably Freckled Fawn. There could be 1 or 2 from Felicity Jane. And this black one, I believe, is from Tim Holtz. And there's the black chipboard one that's smaller, that's still in that group. That's from Allie Edwards. And so I just pick them up wherever I find them. And throughout the year, really, anytime I see some fun numbers that might go great into a daily album, I just grab them and add them to my collection. So here's where I'm going to start constructing the page. And what I decided, because so there's the previous day is going to interact a little bit with this page. And that means that when you turn to day 6, you're going to see the full page photo, and you're going to see the Mickey spider, and then you're going to turn the Mickey spider, and that's going to be layered up against something. It was layered up against that black and white check vellum, but I'm adding this as an insert, and so that Mickey spider is still going to transition us into day 7. So I'm going to need something behind the Mickey. And so that means that this part of the page is actually going to be once you flip to page 7. So the flip is going to be on the left-hand side, not on the right-hand side for this page. No worries. I've done a million of these little flip outs, tip outs, tip ins, whatever you call them. They have different names, just depending on whatever name you like to call them. And I just use washi tape here, leave a little bit of space in between the 2 panels that you're adding together here, so that they turn a little bit easier. And there is a little bit of bulk with these muffin liners. That sounds so funny. There's a little bit of bulk with these little rosettes now, but I think over time they're going to smush in a little bit anyway. And so that's what the flip out is going to look like. And so what you're going to do then is turn the page, and I wanted the 7 to be visible when you turn the page. So that determined putting the 7 there next to where the holes are going to be punched. And I'm just kind of debating that, finalizing that decision there. There were definitely options of where to put that 7. But that's how I decided to do it here. I'm just going to glue everything down. I am using a ruler. You guys, I normally eyeball a lot of things in my scrapbook layouts. But I wanted to make sure that, these were at least read as straight lines, and making grids sort of helps encourage that a little bit. And I went ahead and punched that as well, and I'm just going to secure this little binding down a little bit, and then I get to decide what am I going to do what am I going to do with this side. Remember, this is the side that is going to back the spider, the Mickey spider. And what do I want to do with the side of the flip out now that doesn't have anything on it? So I'm just sitting here thinking about how to incorporate that. It's got that little green vellum sandwiched in between, and I've got to decide, do I want to keep that as its own independent insert, or do I want to just adhere it down? But first, I'm going to go ahead and pick a pattern paper to use on that front side of the flip out. And I decided to go ahead with the Simple Stories plaid. One, it had a little bit of that green in it, and I felt like that was important to help make this transition a little bit easier. I considered those leaves from Pink Fresh Studio. I considered that Simple Stories stripe, but there wasn't really any pink anywhere. And I thought about that these are just some of the choices that I was finding in my stash. That little word pattern paper was kind of cute, but it didn't have green, and so I didn't keep that one. And then here's where I found the little plaid and decided to go with that. I like that a lot, and I think that worked out perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and trim that down, and then I did decide to go ahead and leave the Mickey ears as its own independent little insert, and it's not going to be adhered to this plaid. And so that means I have a little space here that I can do something with. That's going to be fun. And I just wanted to say that it's all right to have a little filler spot here where you just use up little supplies that you have. And so that means I get to pick out some of these cute little stickers and just pull them together. I'm going to start with the little house. That means I can add a little tree to it, and I'm just imagining like what the front of our house looks like and recreating that here using these stickers. We have a little black cat, and her name is Zoe, so she gets a spot here. Our little house and our little tree. We don't have any bats that I know of, but it's Halloween, so we're gonna have a bat today. And I'm going to add a little word strip here just so that you have a little sentiment there, a little pumpkin, and that makes this a little vignette. And now there's something fun and interesting to look at here when you turn that Mickey page. So that completes my layout for day 7. Thank you so much for following along. I hope you will hop over to the blog where you can find more details about this project, the previous days that I've done in this project, and detailed photos, product links, and all that good stuff. I'll see you back here again soon. Bye-bye.